I'm Kate, and today I'm going to teach you how to make my favorite origami model of all time, the Pentagon Hexagon Zigzag Unit by Thomas Hull. It doesn't look like much on its own, but if you make a bunch of these, you can make things that look like this, and there's also a ton of really cool graph theory coloring problems that go along with the polyhedra you can make with this, so let's get started. We're going to start out just making one unit, which requires one piece of origami paper, but to be able to do anything cool with this, you're going to want to have at least 30 pieces of paper of this same size, and I would recommend you either have 30 of the same color and pattern, or you could have 10 each of 3 different colors and patterns, or the final option, 10 of one color pattern, and then 20 of another color or pattern. Let's get started. I'm using, typical origami paper. It has a colored pattern side and a white side. I want to start by folding this in half with the colored side in. And you'll want to make your creases as precise as you can. And then now, holding this with the crease down, I want to fold each half down to meet that crease that I created. And again, you want to be as precise as possible. If it helps to put it down on a flat surface, that can be helpful when you're getting used to doing the creases. And then now you want to hold this. Notice we've done sort of an accordion fold here. Hold this so that it looks like an M. And then you're going to want to start from the upper left-hand edge and think of forming right triangles. So I'm going to take this upper left-hand edge and I'm going to fold it down. So think of folding on the diagonal of a square that has edge length equal to this short edge here. So I fold down, and again, we want to be as precise as we can, get a nice sharp corner there. The more precision you can have, the better all your pieces will fit together when we get to that stage. Now, think of continuing to work along left to right. So take this tail that I have here and fold it down so that the top edge is going to come and meet this edge that you just folded in here. So fold down like this, and it should now look like this. Okay. Now, our next fold is going to be this tail that's now hanging down here, straight up. So we want to make a fold that is parallel right next to where the bottom of that initial piece was. And then still always working forward. So we have not flipped this over yet. Now fold this down again, and we're making another diagonal fold, so it should be parallel with that first fold we made. Think of what the piece looked like when it's finished. It's going to be these 2 right triangles next to each other. And then the last thing, now we can flip it over, and you should have roughly a square left here. And take the, now if you flipped it over, now it's the upper left-hand corner, fold that down diagonally, and so the top edge should be meeting the edge here that's already folded. And again, you want all of these corners here to be as precise as possible so that this will fit together. And that's it. That's one piece. Let's practice one more time. I'm going to take my piece of origami paper. I'm going to fold it in half with the colored pattern side in. I'm now going to fold each of the 2 sides down to meet that creased edge that I just created. Now, holding it like an M, I'm going to work from this top left edge. So you're holding it towards you, and the top left edge, fold it down towards the right. Now think of this long piece as the tail that you've got to work with. Fold that in towards that edge that was just folded down. Now fold this directly up into the front. You don't want it wrapping around the back of your model. Now fold this down again, parallel to your initial fold, so along the diagonal of a square that has edge length equal to this short edge. And then now it's easiest at this point to flip over, and you should have roughly a square left here. Fold this down. So either way that you hold this has rotational symmetry. So you should see one triangle that is solid and one that has open edges in the middle. Make at least one more of these after the two that we just did. So you've got 3 total. And now let's look at how we put these together. So zoom in on just one of these pieces to kind of understand how it works. I'm going to stretch this out for a second. We've still got all our creases here, so we can easily fold it back. So this is a long rectangle here where the height is 4 times as long as this top edge. So think of this as being 4 different squares stacked on top of each other. So into each of these middle squares, another piece is going to be inserted, and then everything's going to interlock together with the folds that we've already created and hold the geometric shape that we arranged the pieces into. So I'm going to hold this so that the side that has open edge, white crease, open edge is to my left. And then I'm going to pick up another piece, hold that piece so that it's like an M, so like 2 solid creases on the top. And then slide the edge of this one, so the first square of this one, the rightmost square, into the pocket of my other piece. So it should look like this. Where we're going with this is we want 3 pieces to fit together in a little pyramid. So I'm going to take my third piece, I'm going to open up the pocket on the side that has 2, so the side where this white creased edge is. Open up the pocket, and now see on this piece, it's sort of already, we can see how it could form a pyramid, right? We just need a third piece to hold it together. So take this edge right here, slide it into this pocket that I'm opening up with my finger right here. And now to complete this, think of rotating this piece across, right? That gives us a perfect little pyramid. And then instead of just folding it across on the outside, we want to fit that into the pocket. Open up that pocket, and I'm going to slide this inside. Now, sometimes this has multiple layers, so when you're pushing it in, you want all the layers to be together. Any piece that's being pushed into another piece, keep all the layers together and slide them all at once into the pocket that we're using. Sometimes this takes a little bit of wiggling to get it all to fit. Again, the better you do your creases, the easier this will be. And then we should have a little pyramid shape like this. This is going to be one vertex in the polyhedron that we make with these. So each piece of paper represents an edge, and then we're going to keep assembling these. As we continue to assemble them, we're going to want to think about the shapes that we're forming in between vertices. So the shapes that are being formed by these edges. I'm going to assemble a few more. So I'm going to open up the pocket, slide in. As you assemble, as soon as you get 3 pieces all together, then it sort of locks on itself, and that makes it much easier to continue the whole structure. So once you've added another piece here, then you want to add the one that closes this little pyramid. So that means this square right here needs to fit into this next piece. It goes into the square that's second from the top, and then this topmost square of the piece I'm just adding is going to come around into the existing piece, the one that was there first. And again, you're kind of opening up this pocket with your finger and then push this piece in. Takes a little bit of wiggling. Now we've got 2 pyramids next to each other representing 2 different vertices on the polyhedron we're going to make. So we're going to continue to assemble in this way, eventually forming a ring where we will connect back to this one. And we want to do that with 5 different edges. So right now I've got 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to come back 4 and then 5. So let me quickly demonstrate how that works. And then once I've assembled the ring, I'll talk more about the structure. So notice at this point, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 pyramids already finished. So as soon as you have 4 pyramids already finished, and each of them already has 3 pieces of paper in it, that means you've got 2 loose edges here. So we want to now link those 2 together. So we don't want to add another piece of paper at this point. We want to slide this edge piece into the pocket of this one. And then we just need one more piece of paper to close off this final pyramid. So I've used 10 pieces of paper by now once I put in this last one. Now in the shapes that we make, we're either going to always be making a pentagon or a hexagon. So it's going to be either 5 or 6 pieces forming the ring. Each edge is included in 2 of the pyramids in this ring of 5. And then we need one other piece to close off each of those 5 pyramids. So we've got 5 pieces of paper forming this pentagonal ring, plus another 5 closing off the 5 pyramids. Now, if we kind of rotate this and look at any unfinished side, where we're going to start is making a dodecahedron, which uses 30 pieces of paper, and every face of the dodecahedron is a regular pentagon. So every face has 5 sides. So we're going to only make rings that have 5 pieces of paper forming that central ring, just like we did here. Before we go any further, you're going to want to have all 30 pieces of paper folded. And I recommend, if possible, all the same color. That's going to be easiest for assembling this beginner version of the buckyball. So we were looking at how we have this pentagonal ring, and then we're going to form a pentagon from each of these currently unfinished sides. So each of these is going to turn into another pentagonal ring. So I'm going to I've got all my pieces together, and I'm just going to assemble making pentagonal rings as I go. Each time I add a new piece, I want to close off the pyramid, the new pyramid that's being created. So when I put in this one, now the next one I want to put in should go right here. So each piece that you add to the model, it's going to be inserted into one piece, and then it's going to have a piece inserted into it, and that locks the pieces together so that this doesn't require any glue to keep the geometric structure. And again, we want as we go, so now this currently has 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of paper. So we just need one more, a 5th piece of paper to close off this pentagon here. And as I go, I want to make sure that each time I close off a ring, it has this regular pentagon structure. At this point, I have just one more piece to put in. So notice I've got 2 pieces here that need to come together. So I'm going to do that step. And then 2 loose pieces here that need to be joined together. And then the final piece is going to complete both of these last 2 pyramids. The last piece can be the trickiest one to put in. It just takes a little bit of wiggling around and finagling. And there you have it. If you followed along this far, you've just made your first PHiZZ unit dodecahedron. In the next videos, I'll be getting into some cool ways to color this if you have different colors of paper that you want to work in here. And I'll also be showing you how to expand this and make larger structures using the same exact unit as your building block. Thanks for watching.